Good evening. Here we are on the 17th of July, 2020. Hope everybody's still nice and healthy. Once again, we're coming up short on a guest for Spotlight Friday, but we'll be back to tackle a few subjects. Back in a moment. Hi there, once again. I am back. Anyways, I guess I'll start up by, I shouldn't have to, but I will apologize for not having a guest for this evening. Granted, this is a very new live stream and it takes a while to get your name out and get people aware, whether it be local individuals or in this case, I'm looking for people from pretty well anywhere in the world. And because the natural bodybuilding movement, although it may not be anywhere near mainstream as the drug type of training, it is still quite pronounced. But still, it takes a while to break into that arena. And even though I've been around for 40 some years, I haven't been involved as much in the competitive side of things in a while. And so I'm just kind of breaking new ground there. So anybody watching or catches one of these videos later on, if you are aware of any of that, and you want to help out, subscribe and like to the videos and, get the word out to people, that have that same common interest as us. And there's lots of us. No doubt about it, there's lots of us. So in lieu of that, I thought I would tackle a few subjects. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a quick update on myself and where I'm going with things. One of my very first live streams, I talked to everybody and I mentioned that I had planned to get back into a competition season this year, which was the goal. And then COVID stepped in and gyms went down and, it was, I'd hate to say there's any good thing about it, but it was kind of a mixture of good and bad for me. The bad, obviously, was that after all that comeback, after 2 years of hard training and getting back in both physically and mentally and being, all gun ho again to step on a stage, I had that taken away from me, which was kind of really tough. Even tougher than the average individual because of the sickness I had recovered from. But, I adjusted. The good of it, though, was it stimulated me. And it stimulated me, and that's the way I've always been. I don't react in a knee-jerk fashion. I don't react in a foul fashion. Disappointment at first set in, and I thought, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I've always had a dream of having a gym, but I've never had a dream of having a public gym. There's just too much, pardon the language, too much shit that goes on. People with a complete lack of respect for one another, for the equipment. That never entertained my thoughts very much at all. I always loved the idea of being able to share my knowledge, and that's, both from a competitor and a non-competitor point of view. I venture to say I have more knowledge than anybody else, any type of social media presence out there, and especially any that are still practicing. Still practice what I preach. Okay. So I take a tremendous amount of joy in doing that. And I thought, well, here's my opportunity. I do not want to be in a position anymore where I can't train. So here's where we get to work and we put together our own facility. So I found a brand new place. I'm here in the west end of Edmonton. I still hope to be up and running by no later than the end of September. Also decided to start putting together my own line of fitness equipment. I see so much junk out there, a lot of pretty equipment, but pretty equipment that's almost completely non-functional. Some things are good, some things are bad, but they put so much work into making them look a certain way, but they forgot about the mechanics. And the mechanics are the most important thing. And for anybody that's never trained before, they probably wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. But for people that have trained, or after you've trained for a while, you will begin to understand what I mean when a piece of equipment is constructed properly, meaning all the pivot points are in the right place, the angles are correct, just lengths of certain parts of the apparatus are correct. And we're not necessarily talking about simple benches here. We're talking about machinery. So I decided I'm going to develop my own line, which is what I'm doing. And so everything is kind of in a process. So as far as myself, I had to sit down and say, okay, so what are we going to do? Thankfully, I got to start training over 2 weeks ago, as many people did. But when you lose 4 months, you're pretty much, at least for me, especially at my age, I just turned 60. And, those are one things I will give when it comes to, when getting up there in age. I'm not going to sit there and stand on a soapbox and say, well, age is just a number and it doesn't affect, yeah, it does affect you in certain ways. But what I always try to say is don't let it rule you and don't let it diminish your goals, because it doesn't have to do that. I'm just saying you have to maybe take a little bit more precaution. You have to think a little bit more about things. And maybe there are some things that you can't do anymore, or maybe that you don't even need to do anymore. So, anyways, I went through all that, when I got back into hard, heavy training over the last year and a half. And now I had to kind of rethink it again because, 4 months out as a natural athlete, not doing anything. I mean, I could have, popped a few pills, taken a few needles, and done some push-ups and sit-ups, and I could have maintained a half-decent physique. I choose not to do that. And anyways, so the first month for me will basically just be trying to get back into the groove. I use a couple of apps that I use for my training and for my clients, and I've been putting a diary for everything. I'm actually on a kind of I won't call it a contest diet. I'll call it kind of a focus is getting a little bit leaner, but I'm not trying to get ultra ripped. I'd like to be in really good condition and start my progression to where I want to be. Focus in on size and strength, and to go a little further into that. That doesn't mean getting fat. That does not make you feel good. It's not productive. It's not the way to go to get ready. And I hear the talk out there so often, I'm in a cutting phase or I'm in a bulking phase. That's just a whole lot of bullshit, is what that is. I've been around this game for a long time, folks, and I got to tell you, people are really complicating something that doesn't need to be that complicated. So anyways, I would give it 6 to 8 weeks. So far, I'm just aiming till the end of August. I'm sitting at right now at 208 pounds, at 5 foot, not quite 5'10". And I have a good structure. I have a pretty small waist, small wrists, and knee joints, and that. It's not to say I'm a small guy. So I have good muscle development. Because things flare very well. And so for where I'm sitting here right now, I'm quite happy. I'd like to get a little leaner on the midsection, especially because I have a severely herniated midsection due to all my surgeries. I really want to see where that's sitting. So I would expect, I never put numbers on things, but I would expect that by the time the end of August comes, I'll be in that 190-pound range, give or take. It depends how high I can escalate the focus on my training, how intense I can get. I haven't gone all out in my HIT side training, which is the only way I like to train, but that will come into play by the end of this month. I'm getting close. I'm going to close to failure. I'm still only doing one set, and I'm getting things back to where they were pre-COVID. Okay? That's the beauty of that style of training. I don't have to sit there and revert back to an old style where I'm doing, 8 or 10 sets. And I don't have to do that. I've learned that. That's old. That's old stuff for me, and I'm not going back to that. So I would expect I'll hit about 190 pounds. People talk about, oh, what's your body fat percentage going to be? Well, body fat percentage means absolutely squat. It means squat when you're talking about it. It means squat when you get on the scale. It means squat when you get on stage. The actual number, because 4 or 5% body fat on one person does not look like 4 or 5% body fat on another person. Never has, never will. Anybody tells you, run, they shouldn't be training you, don't get advice from them because it's not reality. And the other reality is we do not have any specific body fat percentage weighing mechanism that is foolproof. They all have flaws. What they can give you though is a basic reading, meaning if you started out at, let's say you were at 10%, and then you took your measurements every week or so after, they won't be all over the place, is what I'm trying to say. It's not going to be 10% one week and 15 the next and 13 and 16. What I'm saying is whatever the actual error is on from your actual reality, it's going to be consistent. So if you go from 10% down to 5%, you can pretty much assure that you lost 5% body fat. But it doesn't mean you're at 5%. It might mean you're close, but doesn't mean you're at. Just saying, something to keep in mind, okay? Don't get overwhelmed with the body fat percentage, which is actually a question. I have a gentleman I'm going to be dealing with this weekend, and maybe he's even going to take a look at this video, but I'll be dealing with him in detail about what he would like to accomplish. So I'm at 207, 208. That's 208 and something, and so I expect to be at 190 pounds by the end of August, and then I will start my focus, bring up my, hopefully by then I'm already well past it. My intensity is where it's supposed to be, and I will be able to now make a complete focus to add on a few extra calories, not lots, maybe up my protein a little bit, because even over the course of this period here, I won't be doing a whole lot of supplementation of any kind. And that's probably the next little thing I'm going to talk about here, and then I'll finish up with another small subject. Anyway, so that's me. I would have liked to have done a show, but I think it's going to be for sure 1 year from today. I'm looking at the calendars on both the WNBF and the Canadian Physique Alliance and the Alberta Bodybuilding Association. I'm just trying to find a show, basically give me a year from now. And providing, nothing happens medically with me and anything else, no other, COVID disasters, that to me is more than enough time to hone in, produce the best me, and hopefully you'll win. That's the goal. Okay, that aside, next thing I want to talk about is going to be, I had a question from somebody in the email, and they asked me if I could give my opinion on a few other major mainstream players in the social media game when it comes to trainers. It's kind of a loaded gun, to be honest with you. I'm not seeing a lot of things that I'm happy about. I believe that several of the mainstream, and I'm not talking about the candy boys. I'm not talking about, these people are just total waste. They're not where you want to be wasting your money. Every one of them are pretty much using drugs. They're just young kids that have been exploited. Don't waste your money on having them put together programs, because all they're doing is punching some numbers in some pre-made software, and that's what you're getting for your whatever they're charging you. So stay away from that crap. I'm talking about legitimate people who actually train individuals. And a couple of names really come to mind. Actually, people that I spent while I was in hospital. I spent a lot of time watching, but I don't watch them anymore, or I watch them occasionally. But it's more or less to just keep a handle on what's going on in the all-around bodybuilding world. So it gives me some fuel, some content to look at, as to where things are going and why they're there. And so, but they're not, one's not into the super mainstream of physique competition. One is. Um, they're two of probably the more prominent individuals that I can think of. And one, I have mostly good to say about him. Most of you people may know him if you're into social media a lot. Jeff Cavalier is, I think he's a stand-up guy. He seems to be a very, and keep in mind, when I'm making these comments, I'm talking about just what they're presenting, what they're doing, and what they're saying. I don't know these people from Adam. They don't know me, and I'm a new guy on the scene, so maybe I don't have the right to even say anything. But I'm going to have an opinion. I have far more experience than even somebody like Jeff. Probably have double the years that he has, but that's okay. That's not the point here. My point here is, if they want to have an opinion on what I'm saying, that's fine. I don't have any issues with that. So as far as Jeff's concerned, I think Jeff is great because in his forte to me is functional training. And I think, for the biggest part, he sticks to that. And he does it very well. He knows his stuff very well. He explains stuff very well, and he comes across as a sincere individual. I don't know what he is behind the camera. That's a whole other game. This could be exactly who he is, though, and that would be wonderful. There are a couple of times where I didn't care because I really didn't think that was his area of expertise. And to be honest with you, it was almost like a minor case of somebody trying to show somebody how to do something that they haven't even done themselves. And probably the standout video or a section of a video, anyways, that I heard with him was he was talking about, though at least the thumbnail read, how to build a massive tricep, even in COVID times or something like that. And to be honest with you, Jeff doesn't have massive triceps. Jeff doesn't have massive anything. He's got a very sinewy, a very muscular physique. He's on the smaller side, without a doubt. Keeps himself in really good condition. He's very defined. People have asked me, do you think he's natural or not? Well, you know what? The fact is, visually, you can't necessarily tell. I'd like to think he's natural. He doesn't have any real level degree of hardness that you can't achieve naturally. I've been there. I've been past that. He certainly doesn't have any level of development that you can't attain naturally because I'm past that. So for sure he can be natural, and I'd like to think that he is. But when you're talking about, if you're going to talk about how to build a massive tricep, you better have a massive tricep, or at least a well-developed one. And to me, he just has a very well-defined one. There's a big difference. So Jeff is not a bodybuilder. So when he talks about building a massive anything, that's not his forte. His forte is strength training. I think he has a background as a strength coach, functional training. Anybody that really needs help in those areas, I think he's a good guy to go to. And I completely, would have no issue with that whatsoever. But if your sole goal is body shaping and trying to develop, maximum amount of muscle or good amount of muscle, or if that's your goal, he's not the trainer for you. And he shouldn't be pushing that element of his training. That's not his strength. That's all I'm going to say about Jeff. And I hope he doesn't get too upset about that. One other thing, I watched an interview he did actually, and I think it was with London Real, which I actually like this guy's stuff. I don't know if he goes under London Real anymore. He's done stuff. I love his Dorian Yates interviews. Several other people he's had on. But he was asked one time, and I'm going to preface this by saying I don't have all the facts on this, but I do believe he was talking about, I think he was asked a question, how do you feel about he was talking about movie stars, and the use of steroids and in the movie industry and that. And he really kind of skirted the issue. And I do believe he skirted the issue because I do believe he has some fairly high profile clients. And one of them in particular, he was talking, he's not a client, I don't think, but he was talking about Sylvester Stallone and let's just get it all on the table here. Sylvester Stallone, has had more surgeries than you can even shake a stick at. I don't slide and hope it doesn't get pissed with me here. I love his movies, but let's just be honest with what's happened here. Lots of surgeries. He's definitely juicing, no two ways about it. And I'm not sure about this. I'm 99% sure, but he ran into some problems as far as I know, even as far as moving anabolics. So, but he was asked that question in regards to Sylvester Stallone, and he totally downplayed it, and he totally downplayed the idea that people they're so down on people, or they're just jealous of individuals who may have acquired these gains in Hollywood. Well, Jeff, that's not reality, because I can tell you, every one of these individuals, drugs have gone everywhere now. It's a moral issue, okay? And it's infiltrated the movie industry to the nth degree. Fact is, all these people, any one of them have any type of a physique at all, had no physique just a few months ago. And the one thing I do know, and I bet better than you, is that it doesn't happen overnight. I don't care what diet you have on, what the guru is that's training you. You don't develop any amount of muscle in a few months' time. It doesn't happen. I don't care if you have the best genetics in a human being, if you're conceived in a test tube. It doesn't matter, okay? You just don't develop. And if you look at people in these pictures and then you see them a few months later, they look below average again. Well, guess what? It's because they had them on some, no, it may not be some huge stack that somebody's getting ready for a show on. But I mentioned it before. There's drugs out there that people can take and not even have to even go to the gym. And they'll develop, they get leaner and maybe see their abs a little bit. That's all it takes to make this big transformation, in a film. Or, let's face it, the reality of in all media, if it's not fake in that way, they're doing touch-ups on photographs. I mean, I see people all the time, even in our industry. Their thumbnails are like this picture of this whatever, but yet I watched so many of their videos and I never seen them look even close to like that. So I guess I just believe in doing the truth. Talk the truth, walk the truth. That's what it's supposed to be all about. If you can't do that in real life, then you're certainly not doing that in sport or bodybuilding. That's for sure. Anyways, the other person I want to talk about is someone who I really actually, I liked in some regard. I'm not a big fan of his style of content, but he seemed like a really nice, young kid. It was Jeff Nippard. And the reason, obviously, because he's involved in the natural movement. Do I think Jeff is natural? Well, once again, I don't see anything in his physique that's all that outstanding, even for his age. It's, he has a decent physique, but it's not like he has an unusual amount of graininess or there's nothing that says that couldn't be natural. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. I believe he's natural. Okay. My problem with him is people don't create great physiques by following studies. He's not the only one that teaches like this. He call it science-based training or whatever. Take science and throw it out the window. Okay? Take experience and that will get you there. They do all types of studies. And the studies, first of all, you have to understand, are always skewed. Always skewed. They're skewed to get a certain result. And they need to do that in order to get, because it comes down to money and greed. They need to get that in order to get themselves funded. Okay? I'm not saying every bit of information you find out there is false, but stick to the mainstream sources of information. The medical journals and stuff like that. When it comes to, types of food and how things affect your body and that type of stuff, because that's going to be real. All these sports studies and things like that, you think how many of the athletes that train in this world, you think any of their coaches or many of them at all go find all the studies so then they're going to then apply it to how they're going to train their athlete? No, that's not reality. They go by where they've been, what they've been doing for years, and some common sense, and they develop their training programs based on that. That's called being a good trainer. That's why trainers, they're born. They're not really developed. They're born. You're born to want to learn. You're born to want to think. You're born to want to develop your skills all the way around. Okay? So my problem with Jeff, other than that, is the fact that lately I watched a lot of his videos. I watched stuff that he did with a couple of clients. I thought, he's doing what he can to, get involved and push the natural movement. That's all wonderful. But then I see him doing a few videos with, I believe it goes under the name Mountain Dog. And God bless you, John, because I know you had some heart problems lately. And once again, these are not personal. I'm talking pure business, what you're selling, okay? I've had a heart attack, so I do know what that's all about, and I hope you're doing well. But John's a well-known drug athlete. So here you are, a natural athlete, and you're now teaming up and doing videos with a known. At least God bless him. At least he doesn't hide it. He openly, says and does drugs. There's no two ways about it. What that did to me, as far as Jeff is concerned, is that totally lost his credibility. Right off the bat, myself and probably many other people are thinking, maybe he's not natural. You know what I mean? But I do believe it's just more of a media approach to, trying to, they're both kind of, I guess we'll call it cross-training as a media. They're trying to get into each other's audiences. You know what I mean? So I do believe that was the whole goal here. But it doesn't have any setbacks or any ramifications to John, because John openly talks about, the drug world. But it's definitely detrimental to Jeff. And, if you don't have to listen to a thing I say, Jeff, you've been around for years in social media, but you haven't been around anywhere near the amount of years I have been training people. Okay. You lose credibility when you do that. You should be sticking to the natural world. Not that you have to make them your enemy. I make the platform my enemy, not the people. Okay. So if you really want to maintain your credibility or build your credibility, then you need to distance yourself from that. You really do. Okay, those are two of probably the biggest people that I follow, and I still look at them. I still watch their stuff, and hopefully most of their stuff is going to be true to the matter, because I do believe in the truth. I don't believe in garbage and selling people stuff that they don't need. Okay. The only thing else I wanted to talk about, I'll group all the others together. You talk about so much in the media is actually the younger, I'm going to say probably in that 30-year and under group, that are built on nothing but phoniness and fakeness. It's, they're members of these, they have to sign with these organizations. Every one of these young kids are on drugs. It's like one big push. It's one big mechanical or one big mechanism. You know what I mean? And not one of them tell the truth. Not one of them, have any real expertise. And then you have so many of them get involved in the lifestyle of gossip. That's the word I'm looking for. It's just gossip. You got guys, and of all there's a few of them that every once in a while I'll listen to, but it's entertainment for some people, but for me, it's not even entertaining. Like, I don't like gossip in any part of my life. Last thing I wanted to do is infiltrate my thing that I love the most. As far as, my physical outlet, the thing I love the most has nothing to do with my training. But if you're going to, these people, in my opinion, are no better than the tabloids at the supermarkets. That's all they are. They don't have any physiques. They don't have any knowledge. They're just creating hullabaloo or whatever you want to call it. That's all they're doing. Okay, they're just sitting there, and they're just trying to cause some type of commotion so people will come and watch their videos. But if you are actually out there and you want to make some gains, and you want to change yourself, change your outlook on life, change where you are in life and where you're going, don't waste your time going to these people. Don't subscribe to their channels. Don't watch their videos. We'll find people that actually have constructive content, real content. Not the Filions and the Kenny KOs of the world. These people have, they have zero credibility in the bodybuilding world when it comes to training knowledge or anything else to do with that. They have zero. And if they don't like me saying that, that's fine. You can say whatever you'd like. The thing being is they're not. They don't. I don't want to give credibility to people that don't deserve credibility. Once again, it has nothing to do with it. I don't know any of them from Adam. Okay, I'm talking about what you put on YouTube or what you put on any other platform out there. I'm out here to push natural training. I'm out there to push people who are actually, deserve to be, trainers, be called trainers, deserve to be watched and looked at and supported. When they're trying to create a good cause and trying to promote something worth promoting, and that happens to be in this case bodybuilding and weight training, something that I've been in love with my whole adult life, my whole life since I was a kid. Anyways, I'm going to apologize once again for not having a guest for the spotlight. I'm going to do my best to use all my social media platforms. If you could, like and follow and tag and all those things you'd like to do to either my Twitter account, my Instagram account, YouTube channel, go to my website. Either case, just get on board with the natural movement. Get a hold of people and say, there's a show out there now, and every Friday, and actually even on Wednesdays, it'd be kind of a talk show where we're going to bring on people involved in the industry. I'll even be willing to debate people if they want to come on and debate, the state of where bodybuilding and the drug industry is sitting. That's fine, as long as it's done in a cordial fashion. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say for tonight. God bless. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And just remember, probably Sunday, I usually release what my schedule is going to be for the week, for the Monday, Wednesday, Fridays live streams. And hope you're there again. Take care and God bless. And we will see you next time.